Hello everyone, welcome back. Now, let's just jump into today's episode because it's going to be a lot. Well, I don't know if it's going to be a lot or not actually. We'll see. But it just feels big. It feels very important. So this episode is kind of like a part 2 to last week's episode, and you don't have to listen to the last episode 65, I think it is, but it does explain some of the ways in which how our reality works at a very quantum level. You may have already received some downloads yourself or some aha moments where you've connected the dots after listening to that episode. But in today's episode, I'm going to help to piece it all together, connect the dots between what's happening at a quantum level with you choosing to become more conscious and consciously expanding and growing, and how it manifests into the physical world around you. And most importantly, I'm also going to clarify exactly how it is that we are learning to manifest with more ease, flow, and balance in a new way in this new paradigm. So are you ready? Let's just jump right in. So first off, in previous episodes, I have explained how all of these outage shadows, this divide, this polarity and tension that we see going on in our reality right now is actually only just manifestations of the collective inner shadows and divide and polarity and fears and tensions that we all have deep down inside of all of us. Tensions with COVID and the mandate, hidden information, secrets, deep state secrets being exposed, the global tensions with the Ukraine and Russia war, racial divide and inequality, wealth divide and inequality, the US dollar collapse and the new monetary system that we're seeing being set up right now, right in front of our very eyes. All of these global manifestations that we're seeing unfold right now are all just manifestations that stem from the fear and the divide and the polarization within the people who are involved in implementing these systems and actions, as well as the people who feed into them and contribute to its energy in some way. So that's pretty much most of us or most of the world. Especially more now than ever that we're connected via technology and different news platforms. This is what I mean by the workings of the collective consciousness. We are all seeing everything and feeling everything that's going on, and we're all unconsciously or consciously reacting to it all. And this all contributes and makes up the collective consciousness energetic frequencies. Now, when we see extreme situations, when we see so much polarization and divide, it can trigger us and we can feel tension in some way. We feel distressed or sad or angry or frustrated. Extremes of emotions hold charge and is usually fueled by fear on either ends of the spectrum or stance that you may have. You see, emotions hold energy, and it's the root energy that is actually feeding or that's actually creating the manifestations that we see. Emotions, energy in motion. So these tense feelings that we all feel can trigger us to want or desire to do something, to fight or speak up or take action in some way. It can also cause us to kind of shut down, to avoid it all, to hide from it all, or ignore it, or take inaction in some way. So these tense feelings, in which stem from fear, are actually what's driving us to force or fight, or to avoid or hide or shut down or take inaction. So these feelings that we feel prompt us to feel like we don't like what's going on, that it doesn't feel right, that we want to change it, that we desire more peace, we desire more balance, we want more unity, and we want more of a sense of wholeness. So within our personal lives and globally, we see these polarizing or extreme events happen, where there are things that are perceived by us as going wrong or that are bad. We feel triggered by them, which then causes us to react or align in some way with a positionality, with a side or an opinion. Then from that, we may feel the need to fight or force or push or strive for change. Now, there are a few reasons why we're doing this, and most of the time it comes from an unconscious reaction for most people. So, number one, we may be motivated by the fear of what could happen. Number two, because we're unconsciously responding from our own personal deep-rooted fears and limiting beliefs. But also we're reacting to them because somewhere inside of us, we actually desire and want more peace, balance, and wholeness. So on either ends of the spectrum, we, humanity, goes out and forces or fights to create change. We see what's going on. We're triggered by it. We're emotionally charged by what we don't like and what we want to change. So that charge and that tension that we feel that motivates us to position ourselves or align with one extreme or another, or one side of the argument or the other, is always motivated by fear. Fear of what could happen. Fear of what has happened before. Fear of loss of control. Fear that we won't be okay. I mean, the list goes on. But any extreme, any positionality that you take, any end of the spectrum that you identify with, that you align with, that you try to fight and force change from, is actually motivated by fear in some way. And as you all know, that fear holds a lot of energy and a lot of power. So let's just use the vaccine, no vaccine stance as an obvious example. So if you align and position yourself with not getting the vaccine because you think that the vaccine is a form of population control, let's just say, that emotion, that belief, and those actions or inactions that you take are actually all motivated by fear. Fear of what could happen, or fears that stem from your own underlying limiting beliefs and fears. So that motivating fear that drives you to take extreme actions, or that drives you to have extreme emotions or extreme views or opinions, holds a lot of energy. And the more focus that you put into it, the more you are contributing to that timeline or reality and manifesting. Now let's go to the other end. If you're someone who is extreme in their position of being and feeling really afraid of catching COVID and dying or having severe illness from it, or if you're spreading hate in many ways on anyone that doesn't get the vaccine, well, those actions and those thoughts and beliefs and feelings are also motivated by fear. That fear of what could happen if you caught COVID, what could happen if this particular person or that particular person didn't get the vaccine. You're feeding into the fears of all the things that could happen, but in which haven't happened. So again, the more focus you put onto it, the more you're contributing to that timeline or reality in manifesting. Or the more you attack or project at others or have negative or bad thoughts about the unvaccinated people, well then the more you're contributing to creating more hate, more fear, and more divide in this world. So as I said, when we feel the need to force and fight and strive for things that are wrong that we want to make right, this is all actually motivated by the desire or want for more balance, more peace, more unity, more equality and wholeness. And this is what we have been doing in the old paradigm. We've been relying on and reacting to the extreme polarities, the extreme events and circumstances around us, which then motivate us to force to take actions, to fight for things, right? However, are you guys ready for the aha moment here? It's because of this balance and peace and unity and equality and wholeness that we desire more of, that has been motivating us to really force and create change, right? To try and bring about more of that balance. But what do we know about desiring? When it comes down to it, the very act alone of wanting something or desiring it means that we don't actually have it, that we don't actually embody it. Otherwise, why would we desire it? If we had balance, well, then we wouldn't want it or desire it, and therefore we wouldn't need to force for it, fight for it, or strive for it. So the very fact that we desire it in the first place is actually motivated by the very powerful energy of we don't have it or we don't embody it. And that energy holds a lot of power. And that is at the root of everything that we are trying to force and fight for. Not having balance, not having unity, not having peace or wholeness or equality. All of that is the root driving energy, and it holds the most amount of power. As without the desire to have balance or to have peace or to have equality, then none of the actions, none of the fighting, none of the forcing or anything would happen. So it's the very act of desiring more balance that holds energy. And deep within that desire is the fact and the reality that we don't have it. And so, as we know, the universe listens to that and manifests from that over anything else. We've been trying to force manifesting it when we ourselves are not it. How on earth are we all to individually and collectively manifest more peace, balance, ease, unity, and wholeness if we are not being it and embodying it ourselves? So it's no wonder that we've been manifesting more of what we fear. It's no wonder we're manifesting more situations, more events, and people that reflect not having balance, not having peace, not having unity or wholeness. What we keep on manifesting is what is at the true underlying energy at the root of the desire. Not having peace, not having balance, and not having equality. That's the true energy that's at the very root of everything that we're seeing play out. And so the universe has listened to that. It's listened to that. Oh, you don't have that, or you fear not having that. Otherwise, why would you desire what you're desiring? And why would you force and take actions and fight and strive for all of these things? Why else would you fight and strive so hard and put so much energy into creating more balance and creating more equality and creating more unity? If some part of you already felt like you had all those things, if you had all of those things and embodied that frequency and knew this, well, then you wouldn't fight for it. You wouldn't strive for it. You wouldn't force it. So the majority of us and people around the world have been individually and collectively trying to force attracting or manifesting more balance and peace and unity. And we're doing it from fear. And we're doing it from the notion that balance and peace and unity is separate from us. So therefore, we're doing it in the completely wrong way. So let me be as clear as I can, as this message is so important and you're all ready to hear it. The reason why more individual and collective shadows of divide and polarity and duality and secrets and hiddenness and all of this extremities keep manifesting is because we are the ones who keep manifesting it. So the only way for us to manifest more ease or more balance, or more peace, or more love, or more unity, or more equality, or more wholeness, is for us to be it ourselves. So how does this message tie into the quantum physics notion of 0-point energy? You may be asking. How is this happening at a quantum level and expanding and manifesting outwards to a larger collective level of physical matter? Well, let me tie it all together for you. So last week, in loose terms, we learnt that there are fields of energy all around us. We are made up of them, our Earth and everything within the Earth and everything in the universe is made up of these quantum fields. And these quantum fields also contain ripples in the waves, and these ripples can also act and manifest as particles. We learned that these ripples and particles can clump or band together in similar frequencies and create or make up matter. everything that we see, hear, feel, touch, and smell. And everything in the universe for that matter too. No pun intended, by the way, for that matter. Anyway, these fields of energy can have different states of energy, different excitabilities in the fields. It can have highly charged states where the ripples and particles have more energy. And these ripples and particles can also clump with other similar ripples and particles too. These charged ripples and particles can also affect other quantum fields, either nearby or far, far away, changing the state of that field too, which contributes to manifesting our reality. But these fields also equally have states of very low to no energy. And this state of the lowest amount of energy possible is called 0-point energy or vacuum energy. And even though this 0-point energy has zero or near zero energy, this state at the same time also contains within it a powerful amount of energy, which has been hard to understand by most physicists. So within the 0-point state, the less charged or the less excited states, there is an infinite amount of this very powerful energy where all sorts of weird and seemingly magical things can happen on a quantum level. Now, this is what is going on energetically within all of us, as we are all made up of energy. It's what's going on within us and all things, all matter, all events and all manifestations outside of us, just zoomed in on a very, very small quantum level. So if we're in really highly charged states, if we're giving our attention to fears, taking actions motivated by fears, or feeding into any highly charged emotions or any extremes or polarities, and just having very highly charged emotions, thoughts, beliefs, or actions from these fears, from these highly charged motivations of energy, well then this is us and our ripples and particles being in excitable states. Therefore, we continue to match with other similar energetic states, other similar manifestations, people and situations that match the same frequency and energy that is connected to these energetic states of fear. Right? This is the quantum fields and the excitations in the quantum fields matching with and affecting other similar frequency states in other quantum fields. But if we choose to adopt more emotions, more beliefs, more actions, or more positionalities that come from more neutrality or less highly charged energetic states like fear, well then this is us accessing 0-point energy. This is where we can access and unlock some pretty infinitely powerful energy, where seemingly magical things can just occur and pop up out of nowhere with more ease and flow. Less striving, less forcing, less controlling, and less fighting. And so this is exactly the reason why I talk about neutrality so much in my podcast. This is exactly why I talk about following your flow, choosing to allow more, choosing to drop the resistance that you have to acknowledging whatever you need to acknowledge, being open to things and being honest with yourself. I mean, the list goes on. Basically, everything that I've shared with you, all of the tools and all the meditations and the awarenesses are exactly how you reach more states of 0-point energy. You just need to choose to do them, to implement them, to find your own process that is unique to you, and then to practice them and explore them. That's how you find your process. That's how you transform, is when you take all of this knowledge and you actually start implementing them and practicing them and figuring out what works for you, because what works for you will be different than others. What works for me will be different for you. Now, being more in 0-point energy is you being in more states of neutrality, siding less with such polarizing views or stances that are stemming from fear, feeling out your emotions fully, identifying your limiting beliefs from your triggers, deactivating the amount of power that your fears and limiting beliefs hold by identifying them, by looking at them. These are more ways in which you access 0 point energy. And this is exactly how you become more balanced. The flow and ease of a more balanced 0 point state. And so, as a result, the more you choose to do this, the more you end up embodying it, and therefore, the more you will end up embodying and bringing in that energetic frequency. Your own frequency will change so that you naturally attract more ease and flow and balance and wholeness to you. You won't need to desire it. You won't need to strive for it, work hard for it. It becomes less harder to choose it or feed your focus into it. It simply becomes a part of you so that you are balance, that you embody balance. And so you're an energetic match for it. And then that's what you end up attracting as a result. Less polarity, less extremes, less tension. You naturally attract more abundance, more flow, more ease, more balance. Instead of having to speak up and fight or force or control or push or strive or work harder or work longer or work more to achieve that balance. I hope this is all making sense. So in order to create a new world or a new earth, a new environment, or new systems that reflect and promote more equality or more balance or more unification and more peace, then more of us need to be and become the energetic match of those, of balance, flow, ease, peace, wholeness, abundance, unification. This is what it means to create in the new paradigm. And this is creating through accessing more states of this 0 point energy. You see, we want to think and have beliefs and take actions or inactions from less charged states, from less excitable states that are charged with fear, and instead use our free will to choose to focus on more neutrality or more states of joy, of passion, of creativity, to choose to focus on the love that you do have, the balance that you do see and experience all around you, the support that you do have in so many ways, the examples that you see everywhere that show you that you are capable, or all of the ways in which your reality shows you that you are good enough. You see, using our will doesn't mean to use it to force or strive or fight or push through or coerce. The role of our will has much more ease than that. We must use our free will to direct our thoughts, direct our attention, our focus, and to direct our actions. As much as our beliefs or reality can tell us that we're not good enough, or we don't have enough, or we can't have things, we can equally use our free will to focus on the things in our reality and the beliefs that we can also have that tell us and show us that we are good enough, that we can have, and that we are abundant. You see, as it stands in this dualistic and extreme world full of polarities, there is always both counterparticles that exist. As much as many don't see it or may not be aware of it or choose not to focus on it, there is actually always the perceived good and bad in all situations. And there's always a choice in what we want to choose to focus on. This is what free will is. Using our will in the right way is to use it to choose what we focus on in our reality. This is freedom. And let me just also clarify here that being more in neutrality doesn't mean that we shouldn't ever feel bad or lower vibrational emotions. It's okay to have and feel emotions when we're triggered. We just want to neutralize the charge that they hold by feeling them out fully. Not suppressing them, not avoiding them or hiding them. and also by acknowledging the limiting belief that is at the root of them. Now, what's really important to say is that the more of us that do this, that choose to do the work, the more that we will then naturally and collectively start to manifest more global situations and events that embody more balance, that embody more flow and ease and unity and wholeness. So in time, this is exactly how we will create and be in the new earth or the new paradigm. And you know, it's funny, as I say that out loud, I just want to say, you know, it's not some other world that we're all going to ascend to rapture style. It's not some new earth that we're going to wake up to in 1,000 years after Armageddon gets us. We're going to be collectively creating this new world together. We're going to be collectively manifesting this new earth, this new way of being, the new systems and the new society. We're going to be teaching our children how to manifest this way, how to consciously create through embodying and being that of what we want and attracting it to us, as opposed to having the idea that attracting something is to bring something to you that's separate from you. So no more forcing, no more striving, no more pushing, no more fighting. Believe it or not, there'll be less action and more allowing. And I just want to stress that I get that this notion and understanding can be confusing at first. It may seem very idealistic. You may also wonder, well, what do you mean I can't want change? Or what do you mean I can't try to make things happen or make things better? And I want to stress that it's okay if you don't understand this concept at first, because you will in time see it unfold and see how it works. But I also want to stress that it's okay to want to create change. It's okay if you want to create more sustainability or create more equality or more balance. Whatever it is that you want to bring about in this world, whatever it is that it may look like, it's okay to actively create these things in your own life and want to create it globally too. I'm just asking you to be aware, to be conscious of how it is you're trying to create it, because you don't have to fight, force, push, or strive for it. There is an easier way. And that way is via accessing this 0 point energy. That way is to be and become the balance. Become the state that is less charged or motivated by your fears. Become the state that allows more, that follows the flow more, instead of being in states of resistance or states of striving and fighting that's motivated by fear. You can set an example and literally be the change. Lead by example for others, by the way you live, how you share, what you say, what you do. Demonstrate it, expand it, and be it. And this is how you then naturally attract exactly everything that you once needed or once desired to you. You just need to drop your resistance and allow more. Be more. Be that balance. Be that ease. Be that flow, that love and abundance. Take more inspired actions and thoughts and beliefs from your higher self, from love, from inspiration, from your intuition, from your joy, from your passions. Follow that over actions and thoughts and beliefs that are motivated by fear or force. So you can start this very process right now. Start choosing to see the things in your reality that you may desire as existing right now. An example that I do and a habit that I've gotten into is to choose to see how supported I am. So as an example, when I'm pressing the seams on the clothing that I make, I have a huge heavy pile of clothes on this really old rickety ironing board that I have. And I don't look at it and think, gosh, this ironing board is so old and rickety, it may not hold the weight of all the clothing. I look at the clothes on it, and as I steam it, I'm like, man, this ironing board is so awesome. Look how much it's supporting all of this weight of clothes. Look how it's supporting me while I steam. And I'm not kidding. This is the level of focus that I talk about. This is the degree in which you must put your awareness and your focus into all of the different ways in which your reality shows you what you already have. And I'm telling you right now, there is much less effort required in creating in the new paradigm in this way. All we have to do is just simply look at what we already have. All of those fears and limiting beliefs that we might have, thinking about, oh, we don't have this, I don't have support, or I don't have abundance, I don't have the capability to do something. Instead of feeding your focus into that, why don't you look to all of the examples in your everyday life that reflect to you that you are abundant, that reflect to you that you are capable, that reflect to you that you are supported. And when we put our focus into doing that, this changes our energetic frequency so that we only then naturally continue to attract more support, more abundance, more flow, and more ease. So we are unlearning doing more. We're unlearning fighting more and striving for more. We're unlearning forcing things out of fear and fear of the what if, and therefore unlearning this very old and outdated paradigm that we've been operating in, that many of the current generations and generations to come no longer fit into. It's all outdated. Some of the souls that are already here know something is off about this world. Something's off about all of this. I don't know. Things just aren't working. I mean, I know I felt that way when I was growing up. I saw this world in a very different way than others. I had very different experiences about this world than my parents and than my friends or teachers or society. So these souls that are coming in now, and these souls that are already here, are more conscious. There's a deep soul desire to help to create a new world, a new way of being. And everything that I share in this podcast and today is exactly how we do it. It's probably why you attracted this podcast to you, as that deep energetic frequency is at my soul level. It's what's behind and motivating me to do this podcast. It's why I moved past my fears to create this podcast. And you're an energetic match in some way to this information. And so the risk that I took and the value that I placed in sharing this knowledge with you was far greater than what the fears held over me. It's exactly why this information and knowing is coming to you at this time. Choose to redirect our focus. Choose to focus on all the ways and all the examples that we see in our reality that reflect love, that reflect support, that reflect unity and wholeness, that reflect that we are good enough, that we are powerful, that we are shining lights, and that we are capable. That's our role here. That's our mission. And remember, you can use this knowledge to manifest anything, not just balance or equality or ease, anything. Better health, living without chronic pain. Perhaps you want to manifest abundance. You can apply this same knowledge to those examples too. We're unlearning that any of these manifestations that we desire, any of these realities are separate from us, because they're not. This is how we create the new earth. This is how we create the new systems, the new paradigm, more balance, more sustainability, more love, more flow, ease for ourselves in our own lives and globally too. Now, this is an incredibly important message, and it may be helpful for you to re-listen to this episode to see what information or knowings might come up for you other than the words that you can hear coming from me. Just feel into this episode, journal about it, meditate on the message, and keep it in mind as, remember, we have some interesting energies coming up between now and around April 10th or 12th. And I'm not going to be surprised if we do see some more global tensions or shadows manifest. So it's important to just become aware of whatever comes up, acknowledge it, accept it just the way it is, and accept and allow what trigger may be triggered inside of you, how you feel about it, and what limiting belief might get triggered as well. Just allow it, right? Just accept it. Don't want to change it or anything. You're just acknowledging it and feeling it out fully as it's deactivating the amount of power that it holds. Then you're going to redirect your focus. Thanks so much for tuning in, everyone. Please make sure to share this episode to help others to connect the dots in their own lives and what's going on globally at this time too. It's one thing to know about all of this conceptually, but when you start implementing and practicing this knowledge and tools, you will find that things will shift within your own lives. You will start receiving different manifestations. And you also then start to know this knowledge on a whole other level, not just conceptually. You start to know it through embodying it. Have a great week, everyone. Well, that's it for today, guys. And if you like today's episode, please like and follow us on our socials. Share this podcast with friends, and why not leave this podcast a review? Oh, and hang out an extra minute if you want some high vibe laughs. Albert Einstein created many concepts for modern physics. His brother Frank, however, created a monster.